So, all right, we've got Garland Quinton here,
Yes,
and I'm going to
yes.
talk to you. And first off, I'm going to ask you where you were born.
I was born in Newfoundland, August the 18th,
In Newfoundland?
1924.
Right.
In a little town called, yeah,
Okay. What was,
oh,
That's all right.
that's all right. We can get to all of that later. Don't worry about that part of it. So, who are your parents? So, tell me about your parents and what were they doing?
my parents,
Yes. Yes.
oh, my father came to this country back in, right after the war, the World War One, because he lost all of his fishing boat and equipment, and figured that the best thing he could do would be go to the U.S. and start a new life.
From where?
From Newfoundland.
Yeah, and Newfoundland,
That's all right.
oh God,
That's all right.
I know it, but
That's okay.
it just doesn't come out the way I want it to come out.
It's okay.
So your father was a
well.
fisherman, so he was a fisherman.
Yeah, it's outside of St. John's. I should have thought about this earlier.
I know.
But anyway, he came to this country and back and forth with his good friend and neighbor, Ned Fitzgerald, who was a craftsman carpenter.
Okay.
And they built homes. He landed in Brooklyn, New York, and built homes out in Valley Stream
Mhm.
for off and on, because he was going back. He had married right after the storm of somewhere in the late 1800s.
Okay. And so what about your mother?
And my mother was born in 1893. He was born in 1888. And he was 15 when his father was killed.
Okay. How about siblings? Did you have siblings?
Yes, I have 4 brothers. One died in childbirth. And one sister. For a total of 5 of us. I was the baby.
You were the baby. So did any of the others go into the military? Did any of the others, your brothers and sisters, go into the military? Or were you the only one who went into the...
I'm the only one living now today.
Okay.
My brother died at the age of 94 back in 09.
All right. So how old were you when you went into the military?
I was a year old in 1925.
Okay, and when you went into the military, how old were you?
You'll have to speak a little louder.
Okay, when you went into the military, into the U.S. military, how old were you?
I was 18.
Okay, all
I
right.
signed up for the Navy in August the 18th on my birthday for the U.S. Navy instead of being drafted. Like my brother was drafted, and he had just gotten married in 1942. That was in September. And in 1939, when we were getting involved with the European situation, my brother went in the army, my oldest brother, who died in '05.
Okay. So what branch of the military did you go in? What?
U.S. Navy Reserves, sir. I thought it was the U.S. Navy, but they put me in the reserves because I wasn't going to be called until November 20th of 1942. Why, I don't know.
So did you go to boot camp? Did you go into training straight away at that point?
I went to boot camp up in New York State. It was a brand new one up near Syracuse.
Okay. Do you recall any of your instructors?
It was under new construction. Of course, that was part of my boot training. We were building the barracks at the time.
Oh, okay.
And that went on for about six weeks, and they gave me a week's leave on New Year's Day. I got back home to Brooklyn, and after Brooklyn, on New Year's Eve, on New Year's Day, we went back to the boot camp and transferred to San Diego Naval Hospital, California.
Okay. So how did you take to military life after leaving your family?
I thought at the time that I was going to make it a career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was getting away from home. I wasn't homesick or anything, and at that time I felt that it would be good for me because I didn't know any thing in particular other than building bikes and little carpenter work.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went to the U.S. Naval School of Nursing. I became a pharmacist's mate. Only they call us an hospital apprentice,
Yeah.
second class. Then the first class, and then third class, second class, first class. I took the chief's exam. I never knew the results because I got married and got out of the service,
Oh,
more or less.
yes. So when did you actually get called up for service? When did you get called up for service? When did
November 20th, 1942.
Okay. All right. 19 And then what happened? So then what happened? Where did you go?
Oh, that's when I went to boot camp and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the Naval Hospital and learned about nursing, making beds, emptying urinals, etc., etc.
All the fun stuff.
And went aboard ship about, I got transferred from Naval Hospital up in Oakland, California. And there we had more training, and I got to see quite a few movie stars and Bing Crosby and the Andrews sisters, and I took them around from ward to ward and really had a good time at the Naval Hospital up there.
So
And they then transferred me to the USS Zeilin, Zeilin, an APA, an assault transport ship number 3. And I was on that back in late February of ¡43. We headed for the Aleutian Islands, place little called Attu, A-T-T-U. There were all around approximately 5,000 troops, Japanese soldiers on that island. We invaded it, and for 3 days we bombed the hell out of it. Landed soldiers we carried on the assault transport island. It was a beautiful ship. All the staterooms it was also classified as a Class C hospital ship. And we went through that in 4 days. We cleared the island. We did not take any prisoners. There was a Colonel Thorbeck, his name was, I believe, Thorbeck's cutthroats, they call them. They were more or less SEALs in those days. Well, one of them came aboard our ship, and he had one of the staterooms next to the hospital area, and we had to treat him for frozen feet and so on. And he said, "Fellas, come on over to my stateroom and we'll have a little sake." We sat around there, and man, I got so damn drunk I had to crawl out of the place. I was, after all, 18, didn't have much to drink of any time, learned to drink. So we came back to the States with 300 wounded and we took care of them on the on this island, and stopped in San Francisco and transferred them back to the U.S. Naval Hospital and thereabouts. We spent time in the Pacific between that and somewhere in August, I believe, we went back up to Kiska of the Aleutian Islands, and there were the Jets had vacated the island, but yet we had approximately 300 to 400 wounded and killed on that island because they had taken troops that were due to go to Africa with African sunshine training and it was colder than hell up in Kiska at that time, even though it was summer in our place. Now, and then back from Kiska, we went to back down to San Diego, spent time on that ship with some movie people.
Yeah, yeah.
And we made the movie Guadalcanal Diary.
Right, right.
The organist that we had playing the organ on the ship, he was on leave, and I used to step in on the movie and of it and play a little pump organ, Rock of Ages, Clef for me.
So all these casualties that you brought back from the Aleutians, were they all Americans? Or who was taking care of the Japanese casualties?
Yeah,
Were both?
Anthony Quinn was one of the actors.
Uh-huh.
Now I can't think of the names of the others, but there was a guy by the name of Jacob. He was about my age at that time.
Right.
His son grew up to be a golfer.
Yeah.
Um,
So you went back up to the Aleutians twice, right? On the boat that you're on the hospital ship. You went to the Aleutians first, one time, and then you went back up again and came back with 300 casualties.
to the Aleutians.
Okay.
Uh,
And so all of the casualties were Americans?
and
Were all the casualties Americans that you came back with?
yes,
The 300?
yes. We did. There were no Japs on the. We did not take any Japs from Attu. We killed off approximately 2,500 to 5,000 of them that were supposed to be there. I was in on the boarding and brought back the wounded that we had and served them on the ship, the Xylan, which was classified as Class C hospital ship.
Okay. And so did the Japanese have hospital ships there too? How would they, did the Japanese have hospital ships also up there?
I couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell, you see that?
We were only, as furthest I got was on the Higgins boat into the island and taking the Marines off the island onto the Higgins boat and transport to the
Up to the ship.
island.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So were your family staying in touch with you all this time? Did your family stay in touch with you all this time?
oh yes, more or less.
More.
You know, the mail we got was anywhere from a month old plus. The victory letters that we used to write.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't have one here, but I got one.
Okay. So where were you when the war ended? When the war ended, where were you?
When the war came,
Ended. When it ended.
ended,
Yes. Where were you? Do you remember that day? When you got news that the
yeah,
war was
I was
over?
at the U.S. Naval Hospital, National Naval Medical Center, Bethesda, Maryland.
Oh.
I spent a few years at Naval Hospital or at the area, the Bethesda, Maryland.
Mhm.
I was part of the school of naval administration, Naval School of Hospital Administration.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
So-
I put that into service with several commanders and lieutenant commanders.
All right.
I just happened to be lucky enough to do clerical work at the time.
So you didn't go home. You didn't go home to Newfoundland after that.
I didn't go home to Newfoundland until I was 58 years old.
Wow. Goodness. Okay.
I lived in Brooklyn up until I went in the Navy and never went back.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a home in Maryland and I was there for 35 years. And I worked in printing.
Okay. Okay.
But I never did get back to my brother and that.
You didn't find him. Mm. So how did your wartime experience affect your life?
Well, it's I guess it kind of, my marriage affected it. I was going to stay in the service, but when I started being transferred from place to place and without her, and she was living in and working at the U.S. Naval Hospital in Bethesda, it was tough for us to get together. And my time, I was with the Marines at the time, and I used to, I bought an automobile and picked up 5 Marines, put them in the car, took them from the base up to Washington and said, "You here at 12 o'clock Sunday night, or you don't go back with me.
Mm.
So for $20, I had $100 that I blew for the weekend.
Okay. Any message that you'd like to leave on this interview for future generations? Is there any message that you can think about for you personally?
I'm going to bring my brothers in because the Sullivan brothers were all killed, 5. I was Navy. My brother Harold, who was 3 years older than I, was a staff sergeant and went from training in the soldiery. He ended up down in Guadalcanal around February or March of '43. And it was not a successful takeover of that island at that time or so on. The Marines were having problems. He happened to be with the Army, and he was more or less in charge of equipment and food. And he spent his 30 some odd months, or it wasn't 30, it may have been, but on Guadalcanal. And the way we got to meet was that my ship came into port, and he says, "Hey, that's my kid brother's ship," which was the Biddle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We had come up, I got transferred from the island in New Zealand and picked up the Biddle, and one of the stops was at Guadalcanal Diary, or Guadalcanal,
Mm-hmm.
and he saw me, he saw my ship, and he says, "I gotta see him." And he commandeered a Kennedy boat. And with a bottle of booze for the guys, and they drove him out to the ship, and we got permission to be together for within 24 hours anyway. He stayed a couple of hours with me. We saw the captain. The captain says, "You have permission to be aboard for at least 3 or 4 hours." And he left me a couple of cases of oranges and apples, fresh stuff that the Navy didn't. He left me a bottle also in the bottom of the orange crate.
That's a wonderful story.
And those things, they were quite expensive in those days, especially overseas. And when I got to Hawaii, through the church, my minister in Brooklyn knew the Bishop of Hawaii, the Episcopal Church. And he says, when you get to Hawaii, you look up Reverend so-and-so, which I did, and he knew where my brother was, and he was on the island at that time, and we got together for a full day, in fact an overnight at the church in the bishop's quarters to spend the evening together. Ralph was the oldest one. He was 10 years older than I, and he became a lieutenant colonel before he retired. He came up the ladder from sergeant. So that's about it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
He and
Wonderful.
Harold got together when he hit, I believe, the last engagement that he was in Saipan, and after he got malaria or dengue fever, and he got permission to go down, fly down to Guadalcanal. He picked up his brother, Harold, and both of them flew to Australia for rest and recreation.
No.
And we all lived to come back at World War II ended.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I was at the U.S. Naval Hospital in Bethesda at the end of the war.
Thank
So
you.
That's about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's sweet. Very nice story. Thank you very much for your time. Yeah.